Motivation won't always be there. You know it's going to fade. But commitment, that doesn't.
I think about happiness, motivation, energy. Those are all feelings. Feelings are as fickle as a pickle, man. You know what I mean? And if you wait for them to come, if you wait for them, they're going to just fickle as a pickle. And if you wait for them, you just stall out.
Did you already do it?
No.
Give me up.
I'll go ahead. I was fine with that, actually. Just go ahead and do your part. Just do your part.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, man. I've never thought of it as a pickle as a pickle, but you're right. It is pickle. Right? So
I just off the cuff, brother. Off the cuff.
it rhymes. You know what? Sometimes those things the things that stick with people the most. And not to get too deep, but we talked about an episode one time about how when you have too much resistance in front of you, then it's harder to follow through with that step. And I thought about that one morning when we were recording at 5. I got up at 4:30. The girls had came into our room the night before, so they're on the side of the bed when I'm getting out of bed. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, man, if I get out of bed right now, I have to go out the bottom of the bed, like crawl my way out of bed because I can't step over the side because they're there. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's more resistance. That's more friction. I'm like, we're just doing what we just talked about. So if something sticks and if fickle as a pickle makes someone remember, like, hey, I got to get back to motivation, or I got to get away from motivation. I got to get to discipline. So we'll take it.
Let's start real fast. I don't know if pickles are fickle. Yeah. But anyways, so let's talk about motivation for you this morning.
Yeah.
Not calling you out because we both have those moments, but your alarm was set wrong.
7:30 p.m. Yeah. That doesn't help us.
7 p.m. We were recording at 7 a.m. And we're just conversation here. But how motivated were you to get up when I texted you at 7:15 and said, hey, are you awake? And you're like, oh, crap.
I was like, I am now.
Yeah, you are now, but I'm just saying sometimes that wasn't probably a feeling. That was probably a little urgency, right? But it happens.
Urgency and commitment, man, because the feeling wasn't there. Like I had to still get myself out of bed, and I didn't feel like getting out of bed. And usually we are up and recorded way earlier than that. But like we talked about in the last episode, it's been a way different week. Our routines and everything's so thrown off. So especially when you have so much stuff around you, or even just one change in your schedule, those feelings of motivation, those feelings of optimism, like all those can go away because you're still trying to figure out that routine. But if you go back to commitments and disciplines, and it's like, hey, yeah, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm doing this because I made a promise to you, to whoever, but most importantly to myself. Like that's one thing I think we overlook is that promise to ourselves, because we've talked about this before. You won't let someone else down as often as you let yourself down. But why don't we believe in ourselves as much as we do each other?
You're right. We got it backwards almost. We should never want to let ourselves down. Brotherhood Forge is built for one reason. Men aren't meant to do life alone. Inside our community, you'll get coaching, accountability, and real-life connection with other men chasing their 2.0 version of themselves. There's no upsells. There's no fake hype. Just brothers sharpening brothers. Click the link in the show notes and step on in. Right. And I agree with that, what you just said. It's for sure, I don't want to let Paul down, but I let myself down every time I don't work out, every time I eat a cupcake or a donut when I know I shouldn't. I mean, if we're not holding ourselves to a higher standard, right, then why even do it? I don't know if that makes sense, but are you feeling me?
Yeah, because you also are in charge of like your feelings and your structure, the way you show up. And if you're not prioritizing yourself in a way that shows you show up for yourself, I don't think you're giving your best version to the people around you that count on you to uplift them too, depending on what kind of work role you have, or especially your family. If you're leading a family, but you let yourself down every single day by not following through with what you say you will, you probably don't feel as good going into leading them. So it's like they're almost getting a lesser version of you too.
Yeah. And it's the same in marriage, in fatherhood, your leadership. You may not feel like connecting or leading, and you have to do it anyways. Those feelings, if you go by those feelings, if you function, if you operate on those feelings, you're never going to get it done. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your marriage. You're going to lose your children, hypothetically. But does that make sense? If you're relying on feelings, you're not going to do very well in life.
I just think of however long you've been in your career, anybody listening, ask yourself how many days you actually woke up and felt like going to work or were excited to go to work. And that's just the example, because we all know we have to go to work. So we do it no matter how we feel. But then we neglect that in other parts of our life where it's like, I don't want to open the Bible today. I don't want to go to church today. I don't want to read today because I don't feel like it. Well, we also don't feel like doing our jobs most days too, but we know we have to because we know the end outcome is a paycheck, or because we follow through with the responsibility or role that we have. So really ask yourself where in life you're skirting past things because you don't feel like it, but you know you need to do them. Scripture for today, James 1:22 says, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says, action first. Yeah, I'll let you reflect on that, but that right there, man, your feelings don't often lead to action. Action will then lead to feeling. And if you keep that cycle going opposed to the opposites, like we said, you're not always going to feel like it, but you got to do it.
How many times have you heard a message, even maybe a reel on Instagram that fires you up, right? Through whether it's a sermon, even sometimes if you're reading a book or whatever, Bible study. But James, on this verse right there, he warns us that stopping at this stage is like it's self-destruction. Motivation has to lead to, here's the word, action. Otherwise, it's just empty. And those feelings, like, you get those emotions when you hear that message. But if you do nothing with that, what's the point? So here's today's challenge. Don't wait for motivation. Pick one thing you've been putting off and just start it. Watch how the feelings come after that.
That's a good one, man. Motivation is the spark, not the engine. Commitment and action are what keeps you moving.
Stay forged, folks. Be blessed, y'all.
See you guys.